All right, well, welcome to Behind the Drapes, where we take a look into what goes on in the minds of event entrepreneurs and a deep dive into the lives of the people that make things happen. Coming to you from the Expo studio in Miami, Florida, I'm your host, Expo Rich, and I have literally grown up in the events industry. So a little about me is I am a second generation trade show and event brat. My father grew up in the trade show industry. He was kicking carpet on the trade show floor when he was 17 years old. And so that, which made me grow up in the industry. And my first job on the event floor was, I was about 10 years old, and my dad gave me about 20 bucks to go pick up all the trash on the show floor, clean up wastebaskets, and little did I know he was making a killing on his labor costs on cleaning. So, and then as a teenager, I used to work summers, working in the warehouse, getting to know the equipment and that side of it. And then after high school, I went to the Marines for 4 years, saw the world, served the country, and when I came back, I realized how much I missed the event industry. So I came back in 2000, so I've been doing this 21 years now, and loving every bit of it, except this past year. But this is definitely events and producing is my passion, and the other side of that is and why I want to do this podcast was the entrepreneurial side of it and getting to know the people that are really just creating from within an industry, creating new things, but also entrepreneurs outside of the events industry that are not so much trade show and events, but producing events of all kinds. And I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. Really, over the years, pushed our company to do different things and to try new things all the time. And we've really created some magic over the years. So, and I'm happy to share that. So, and with the theme of entrepreneurs, I wanted to invite our very first guest ever, longtime friend of mine, someone who has the hustle of Gary Vee and the plug on everything in Miami. Welcome to the show, Harrison Ruggiero.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you. It's definitely a pleasure to be here and to hear you recite or take a stroll back on your history in the events world. We have very similar starts in a way, and me starting at a young age in a similar scenario, working for the food and beverage provider in the convention center. I started off taking out trash, and I started off bussing tables, and this was during a time that I was still in high school, and I was learning the power of money. And it's the event space and the events world, whether it's convention services, hotel, any sector within the service industry itself, it creates a beast inside of somebody who has the focus and the willpower to succeed, and also kind of sets themselves up for the future if they stay resilient with everything that they do. So
yeah. It's funny.
Special place.
It's
special
funny you
place.
say that because there's people that put their toe in the water and try it out, and if you're not ready for fast pace, high energy, just flipping boom event after event, then this is not for you. Like I said, I know you a long time, and I've seen in action just your development as a person through different careers and also as an entrepreneur. So where can you give us a little history on where your hustle comes from? Like where was it ingrained in you at a young age?
Oof. That's really hard to pinpoint, but I have to attribute a lot of it to my mother and father. I don't know if I should be speaking on this, but my family's past is I wouldn't say the black market, but it was in the shade. So I don't want to say that I grew up with everything, because my father never really gave that to me. But once I turned the corner 12, 13, 14, and I got into my teenage years, and I really started to open my mind and really realize what's going on around me, I realized life was pretty good. But I also realized that my dad was retired, and my mother was basically a volunteer. So, you know, there was a point in my life where, right around that age, we got into some family troubles, right? And my father, quote unquote, went to college for a couple years.
Yeah.
And it was my mother, myself, and my older brother. And my mother created a corporation within the city of Miami Beach, where she was a nonprofit. She had a nonprofit organization where her funding would come from grants, from writing grants, and pretty much soliciting the city of Miami Beach to sponsor or, you know, help her find other sponsors within the city to fund her program. The program is no longer active. My mother's retired now, but the program within itself was it was to benefit and help children that were at youth risk. So basically, kids. The only way that you were able to qualify to get in the program was either one, you had to have poor grades. Two was your academic academic standing. So like if you missed too much school, or you know you were basically deemed a bad kid, right? And
That's great that she started that program now.
and what she was doing was she was literally bringing kids into the program that, you know, their family situations weren't the best, you know, either a missing father or a missing mother, or vice versa, or even both. You know, sometimes either the kids were being fostered by a family member or something along the lines of that. And a lot of them were my friends, you know, and she essentially became a mother to every single kid that came through that program for over 15 years. And, you know, just to touch back on the way it was funded, like I sat back and I watched my mom, you know, scream at herself, scream at the computer, be frustrated because she had to literally write all these grants as the executive director of the program.
Right.
She was in charge of, you know, writing all these grants and everything along the lines that comes with that, if you know anything about that. And that's very intensive.
A lot of red tape.
A lot of red tape.
Jumping through hoops, yeah.
A lot of legalities. Along with being the sole provider of the family at the time.
Right.
With my father being away.
Right.
So, you know, I don't want to say I had to man up when I was that young, because I really didn't understand the situation that was going on, because, you know, out of their respect to me, they kind of kept it for me.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't that. But that was kind of my real wake-up call on what it kind of takes to survive.
Right.
And, you know, a couple of years later, my father comes home from college, and I was much older, I was much matured mentally, to where that my father and I had a conversation. He sat me down and kind of explained what was going on and what had transpired, and kind of gave me, I don't want to say the tools, but the wherewithal to know what I would be facing in the world if I were to choose different paths. And he always told me, he goes, whatever you do, you have to make sure that you do the right thing. Because no matter what it is that you're involved in, or, you know, it could be business deals, it could be bussing tables, you know, as long as you're doing the right thing and you're being resilient with your work ethic, there's always somebody above you, or there's always somebody around you that's going to witness that.
Yeah.
And it can help you take you further, right? Every situation you're in, work-wise or even investment-wise, there's always a greater opportunity. So, you know, my dad kind of schooled me really young with that, and I started working at the convention center. And I was in high school, you know, fast forward a couple of years, I was in high school, and, you know, I was considered a bad kid, you know, because I was a little bit too smart for my own good, in a sense, you know, and all my friends were, one, my brother's friends, who were 10 years older than I was,
Right.
or two, kids in the neighborhood that were much older. I kind of like, I don't want to say separated myself from my age group, but, you know, with my father being gone, my brother kind of took me under his
Yeah,
wing
you were looking up
back
to
then,
him
and I was hanging around with his friends, and I kind of learned the older way, the mature way to be and to handle myself. So
be it good, bad, or ugly.
Good-
That was your influence.
yeah, it was my direct influence. So when I was in high school, I was I was a freshman, I was hanging out with the seniors and the sophomores and things like that. And it was just because I couldn't, at that point, like, I couldn't relate to what my friends were doing at my age group.
Right.
I didn't find it attractive, I didn't find it funny, I didn't, I wanted more. Like, my friends were either one out of high school already, in high school, with jobs, with cars, dating, and going out and spending money. And one thing my mother and father really didn't do was give me money to go do that. My father always wanted me to work. He
Right.
wanted me to learn.
Yeah.
So a really good friend of mine happened to be working at the convention center at the time. His name is Richard. And this is a childhood friend from early on in life. And he knew my personal situation. He said, why don't you come get a job? I'll help you get a job. You'll be throwing away trash and busting tables. But if you stick around, the company's a really good company. There's room for you to grow. And again, this is my freshman year of high school. And I did whatever it was that I needed to do to make money.
Yeah.
Faked sick from school,
Yeah.
skipped school a lot. And with the convention center being 2 blocks away, I lied to the company and I said, I have on the job training.
Yeah.
And I can work. I can work
Yeah,
every
yeah.
single day.
Sure, yeah.
I'm in this program, whatever. I don't even remember what it was,
Yeah.
what the game was that I gave to them,
Yeah,
that I fed to
yeah,
them.
yeah.
But they bought it.
Yeah. On-job trainings, you
On
get
the-
out early, right?
yeah, so-
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to be put on the schedule a lot
Right.
because of this. And I was throwing away trash for like six months to a year.
Right.
But I was making money. I was making really good money at the
Yeah.
time for my age. And I was excited,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
So I kind of like, it kind of was like, it was my yin yang. I guess I was
Yeah.
caught in the middle
Yeah.
because I was still in school.
Yeah.
I was 16,
Yeah.
but I was working and making money.
Yeah.
So I was going back to school on the days that I wasn't working. I was like, man, I don't
Trying to
need
catch
this-
up
I don't
and-
need this shit.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. Because you're making money already.
I was
You're
making
like,
money. I was like,
yeah.
I wanted more.
Yeah.
I wanted more. I consistently wanted more.
Yeah.
More money. I wanted to be hanging out more. I wanted to be out more. I just wanted to continue to be older.
Right.
At a young age.
Yeah.
So it got to a point where it was one morning and I was skipping class within the school and the assistant principal, yelled at me down the hall and I took off running from him. It was right before winter break. And come back from winter break, come out of my homeroom period, or whatever it was, and I'm looking, I always kept my eye open because I knew he was hunting for me, looking for me.
Yeah.
And I get a yank on my shoulder. Now I'm a short guy, right? So I get yanked from behind and it literally spun me around and it was the assistant principal and I was a hothead. I thought I was the biggest kid in the school and I was only 5'4", 5'5" at the time. And I pushed him and it kind of got physical between him and I threw a punch
Oh,
and I got wrapped in the chokehold.
that did not go well.
Didn't go well. Got wrapped in the chokehold. Security guard grabbed my legs, and I literally got carried out to the office, where I was sat down with the school police officer, and I had to wait for my parents to arrive. My father was the one who arrived, and it didn't go well,
No.
and it became a yelling match. One thing led to the other. I F-bombed everybody in the office, and I walked off.
Because you knew best, right?
Because I knew best.
Yeah.
I knew it all.
That's like
And
we do when we're teenagers. Yeah.
pretty much I got expelled that year.
Yeah.
My mother, one thing that I didn't mention also, but she was at one point the head of the PTA for South Florida. The PTA is the Parent Teacher Association. She was very involved with kids even before the program. So I told my mother what had transpired, and my mother got infuriated immediately. And she goes, I'm going down to the school board tomorrow. She had a morning program on WLRN, you know, where she did
public access.
yes,
TV,
where she did like a morning series for the kids in the school, like a good morning class that, you know, that actually was on television that I used to watch when I was in elementary school. So she was kind of known in the school board during that era. She went down, raised hell. The school board went back and watched cameras footage and saw that
he grabbed you first.
That he grabbed me first and kind of like infuriated and like instigated the entire thing. I was immediately passed to the next grade. He was fired.
Oh, wow.
Or moved. I was immediately passed to the next grade. So I had the entire, from winter all the way until the next year off.
Thank God for the cameras.
Right?
Yeah.
I had that entire 8-9 month period off from school. I was already passed.
Yeah.
So I was out on the street. I was hanging out with my brother, hanging out with my brother's friends. And at 16, 17, growing up in Miami Beach, or however you want to look at it, but that's a very crucial time.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you have friends that are involved in the streets.
Yeah.
Or you're hanging out with people that are involved in the streets, it kind of instills something into you that...
Well, that you really develop street smarts.
You develop street smarts, but you also develop a fire inside of you.
Yeah.
Right? Of, you think you're a badass, one. You're hanging out with people that are doing, at the time, illegal things, you know, marijuana, smoking weed, whatever, however you want to look at it. But you get put into the mix of the street, and you kind of carry that bravado with you.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So here comes my sophomore year or whatever it is. I don't know how the rank is anymore. So I come into school first week, and there's like this big conflict with scheduling. The whole thing's fucked up.
So, starting off bad.
They have 200 of us students inside the gymnasium with no AC. We're talking the early 2000s, so like Miami Beach High was still the old Miami Beach High. It was underdeveloped, no AC in the gym, and we're all sitting in there like sitting on the bleachers talking shit.
This is August.
Yeah. Hot as fuck, right?
It's 100 out.
Yeah, so we're all frustrated. All my friends, again, like I still carry the older friends, and I'm like, let's go to Lincoln Road.
Yeah.
You know, everything was so convenient at Beach High because you got Lincoln Road, you had the hotels, the pools. Like, let's get out of here. We did that for the first week. Second week, we come back. We're still doing the same thing, going to one class, and then now we have to be in the gymnasium for the rest of the day, and it was just very frustrating, you know, especially like knowing what was out there for me and having access to like friends that were outside of school. I'm like, I'm just, you know, coming over your crib, like whatever, let's chill. This is fucked up.
And that's what the bad thing is, that like when you have a job and you don't have motivation to be in school.
Correct.
And you know, you get further and further away from it.
Correct. You become detached from reality. In a sense. So fast forward, they fix the scheduling. Everything's back to normal. I'm skipping class after lunch. I get approached by the head of security, and you know, what are you doing? Where's your hall pass? I said, hall pass? I'm like, bro, who are you talking to right now? You know, like, who the fuck are you talking to? What hall pass? I'm like, I'm going to class late. I just finished lunch. So he goes, nah, come with me to the office. You know, everybody in the school had known my prior situation from the year before with what transpired. He brings me in.
So he wasn't even gonna. He was just cut it right to it.
There was no break. You're coming to the office.
Yeah.
So my father gets called down to the school again, and now I had developed this aura of friends, right? That it was like a depiction to the school, to Miami Beach High, that I was hanging out with like the thugs, quote unquote.
Yeah.
The bad crowd.
Sure.
Sitting in the head of security's office, my father comes in, and he literally starts ripping into me.
Right.
The head of security, not my father.
Oh, okay.
He starts ripping into me in front of my father. Okay? Your son, you know, he's a drug dealer. He's hanging out with the drug dealers, the thugs. You know, they're doing bad things in the school.
Immediately guilty by association.
Immediately. I'm sitting down. This gentleman standing in front of me, leaned over in my face with his finger up, you know, going through everything. And I'm sitting there watching my father, and I'm watching how this is affecting my father. And I'm Italian, so aside from my mother, the most important thing is my father and what he thinks about me, you know, and how he portrays me, and how I'm viewed in his eyes. And I'm watching him buy into the bullshit.
So you don't want to let your dad down.
So I don't know if it was like I blacked out of anger. I immediately stand up and I shove the head of security into the wall, and he had like these little shelves on the wall with like little pictures and things. He hits the wall so hard that the shelves come down.
Oh, man.
Everything comes crashing down. The school police officer and the who was the assistant principal at that time filling in comes rushing into the office. Big scene. I like big tussle. He gets up. They hold him back. They're holding me back. I'm like, you know, I'm screaming, let me the fuck go. My father's there, like completely like
Doesn't know what's going on.
doesn't know what's going on. You know, my father's an older gentleman.
Right.
So he's very old school. He was very calm and reserved and relaxed, but he was very upset.
Right.
And I recognize that. So I peace out of school. I leave school. I go to Lincoln Road immediately. I took off. I had a cell phone already at the time. My father called me and he says, "Where are you? I need to see you." I said, "I'm on Lincoln Road." So we met at the German. There's like a German pub bar on Lincoln Road. He goes, "I'll meet you there for breakfast." He goes, "I need to sit down and we need to have a talk." He goes, "You're officially out of school." He goes, "You're not going back to school. They're not going to allow you back into school. So now's the time that you become a man." He goes, "You're 17 or 16 years old." And he goes, "You need to realize what you want, or figure out what you want out of life.
Yeah.
You know, what purpose are you going to serve?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to be a fuck up on the street? You want to live that life?
Yeah.
You want to hang out with those guys? You want to be a tough guy and kind of like lead your life in that direction? Or do you want to live life free?" He goes, "Without a doubt, you know, you're a very savvy kid. You know, you're very advanced for your age. My situation probably didn't, you know, he's going through everything. This is
Right.
him to me. He's like, my situation in the past probably didn't help, you know, the way you act now." He goes, "And I take blame for that, but I want to help you. So you need to figure out what it is you want from life." And at that point, I told him, I was like, "Oh, you know, I want to be rich. I don't want to work a day in my life.
Right.
I want to be like you." You know? And it kind of made him, still makes me pause to the day talking about it, but he paused. And he immediately, you know, disregarded that, you know, because of the business that he was involved in
Right.
his whole life. So he said, "You have a really good position at the convention center. You're making money." He goes, "Stay with that. Dedicate yourself to that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, continue to do the right thing there, and I'm sure it's going to lead you in the right direction." He goes, "But one thing that's not going to happen is you getting help from me." He goes, "You want to continue to be on the street. You want to continue to be, you know, portray this image of this tough guy." He goes, "All those people end up behind bars."
Mm-hmm.
He goes, you get attached to that life, and you get attached to making that money, and it's over for you in
Yeah.
5 or 10 years, because it always happens that way." He goes, take what happened to me. He goes, at the time he was like 70. He's like, "I'm about 75. He goes, "I'm still getting in trouble."
Right.
You know? So don't think that you're gonna be above all that.
Right.
That's not the life you want.
Right. He's telling you it always catches up.
Yeah. So I kind of took that from him, and I stayed with the convention center,
Yeah.
you know, and after about 2 years, I got promoted to supervisor, and I think that's kind of like where you and I started, like, you know, crossing paths a lot more, and I was put in the position to where that I was being held responsible to set things up in the convention center, And I was talking with people within the union who were basically contracted, I guess, by your company.
Yeah.
For their help. They would help me a lot, you know, get the aesthetics of our setups, you know, put together and basically help me succeed. And it kind of like one hand washed the other, right?
Yeah.
Because my supervisor was like, wow, you know, you're making this happen, you know, how are you doing this?
Right.
And I was just like, you know, I made friends through the
Yeah,
people in the union,
exactly.
and they helped.
Yeah.
And that helped me progress through the ranks over the years. And it got to the point to where that I was assistant manager of the department, or I was still a supervisor, but you know, I wasn't getting the pay as a manager, but I was doing the work or whatever. And now it had grown so much that I get introduced to you, because we had grown. The company had been given opportunities within, you know, the show directors, whatever show it was at that time.
Yeah, to really elevate the
that-
food experience.
To really elevate the experience for the guests. And I had to rely solely on you and
Yeah.
your team. So I think, who's probably the boat show, I don't even know what show it was,
I
but
know, it's-
we meet, right?
Right.
You and I officially meet, and you know, I can honestly say that from the moment that I met you, you received me really well. You know, and obviously I knew who you were, and I knew the status you held, and the job that you did within the convention center. And I felt kind of like, I kind of felt like, I don't know, pleased or I can't find the word right now, excuse me, but I was very delighted to have you in my corner, basically,
Yeah.
right? So I was proud of that.
Yeah.
And I would talk about it a lot with my.
Thanks, I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, of course, man. Like, Rich, it's like you helped me a lot, you know, and I'm gonna get into that. But it got to that point, and basically, you and I hit it off as coworkers or peers or however you want to look at it. But we helped each other. You know,
Yeah.
you helped me a lot, because there really wasn't much that I could do except give you free lunch while you're at work. You know, and it was just like an instant bond. You know, our energies clicked, and we're still here to this day.
Yeah, definitely.
15 years later.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, once you made that commitment in the company to, you know, start taking that supervisory role, you have a gift of bringing people together.
Yes.
To like guide and lead.
Yes.
So, and at a young age, that was shown, and that's why you were given so many opportunities young.
Yeah.
And I think that that's also why we were able to click, because, you know, I could see the work that you were doing and your abilities to work within what is around you. And I think that's definitely what drew me to you on a personal level.
Thank you. Thank
so,
you.
You know, seeing those characteristics. So
That means a lot. Thank you.
yeah, and again, you know, fast forward, you know, you're working your way, you worked your way through the ranks to a certain point, and then you're given another opportunity. So now, and other opportunities, you've done a
Yes.
few things,
Yeah.
you know, within that time. Before you even get into the next thing, what is something that you think that you, well, I guess what would you say helped you through the years of like working in the event side that you were able to carry out into beyond just the event in the convention center or center plate world?
The power of relationships.
There you go.
That is the most important thing, I think. You know, it's like every influencer's main quote, or, you know, it's in their book of things to coach you, but your network is your net worth.
Yeah, that's
100%.
yeah.
But in layman terms is the power of your ability to maintain a relationship with somebody,
Yeah.
whether it's at work, whether it's outside of work, whether it's personal endeavors, business, or even somebody that you see on a regular basis
Yeah.
that may not be a friend.
Right.
You know, like
Just an associate or
a
an
coffee
acquaintance.
shop,
Yeah.
a coffee shop,
Yeah.
so your local Starbucks,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you go there every day,
You build rapport with the
They know your
barista.
name.
Yeah. Yeah.
the whole thing, this coffee's on us, And it just flows. And the
Yeah.
most important thing is like you have to be receptive.
Yeah.
No matter who the person is, no matter what kind of attitude you ever met with,
Yeah.
you don't know what's behind that person or how you
Yeah.
guys can help each other grow in the future.
Yeah. It's funny. There's I don't know if you ever read the Dale Carnegie book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's one of the major.
I've never
Well,
gotten into those
I'm an
things.
audiobook guy. I'll
Okay.
listen to
I
it.
actually
Yeah.
just signed up to Audible.
Okay.
Audible
So
or Audible.
I'll
whatever it is.
text you that to add it to your
Okay.
list. It's one of the historic business core ones, and it's actually really great. But there's a funny story in there about how a guy, went in to go visit one of his clients, and he was like providing something to like little coffee shop type things, and the store owner, said, "We don't want anything. Your company's raising the rates, and I'm not talking to you anymore. Get out." And then he was kind of blown away because he thought he had a pretty good relationship with them, and then he leaves, and then he just said, "You know what? I got to go back in." So he goes back in, and then all of a sudden the same guy was like, "All right, yeah, come on back and talk." And he's like, as they went in and talked about the next order, he said, "What changed your mind?" He said, "Well, when I treated you the way I treated you, the girl that works the counter, she said, you're the only guy that talks to her and says hello every time you come in and checks on her."
I just
You
said
know?
that
And
our
it's like,
relationship.
yeah, and it's like, when you left, she vouched for you.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So you never know. You never know who you touch.
That's in this book?
That's it, yeah.
I
Yeah,
honest
so-
to God, I have never read
Yeah,
this book.
so that's what I said. It reminded me of that situation in the story.
Wow.
So yeah, it's you never know who you're gonna influence and what can influence upon your results.
So
yeah,
I just want to speak on something that's currently going on as I'm sitting here right
Okay.
now, right? And and when I tell you that I've always been, that I've always followed that strongly as far as, the relationship. I get introduced to a gentleman while I was in the Bahamas, about a year and a half ago. He introduces me to this guy, and he says, "I want to introduce you to one of my." We're in a casino, okay? So I'm talking to the director of the casino. He goes, "I want to introduce you to one of my clients. He comes down to Miami a lot. He's a good guy to know. I'm sure he would really want to know you. Let me go talk to him, see if it's cool if I."
it's not Kenny Hill, is it?
No. So, and this gentleman, he accepts to meet me or whatever. And he's like, "Yeah," he goes, "What do you do?" And this and that. And he's like, "I heard you work at a club." And I told him where I worked. And he was like, "What? No way." He goes, "Give me your number." Right then and there. So I'm like, "Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
No problem." So he goes, "You gamble?" He goes, "Let's go gamble." I'm getting ready to go gamble. And I said, "I do." I was like, "But, I don't think I'm on the same level as you are."
Right.
I like to stay in my lane, no
Yeah.
matter what. No
Yeah.
matter who I'm with whatever it is.
You
Dinner,
set a limit, and that you know where you.
I
you
know where
you-
I know where I sit.
Yeah.
I know my lane. So he goes, "No, I insist. Come with me." So we're walking to the high limits, and in the casino world, you have a marker system, or
Yeah.
you can be okayed for a certain amount,
Right.
depending on your play or how much you're worth.
Yeah.
So he goes to the guy, "Give me 200 or 250." I'm like, he's getting a fucking $250 marker.
You're like, that's weird.
Like,
That's not a marker.
I'm
That's
like, I was like, does he have? Does he give me back my chips? Are they
Yeah.
holding his chips for him?
Yeah.
It's 100 a hand. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm like, okay. iPad comes out or whatever the machine is. He signs away. They bring out $250,000 in chips. So I'm sitting across the table, like at the other end of the table, because his friends are with him or whatever. And he looks at me. He goes, "I know you play this game." He goes, "I'm gonna let you lead the game." I said, I go in my pocket. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I have like $3,000 cash on me.
You're like-
I'm like ready to go crazy. I'm like, oh man,
You're in the moment.
This is
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
This is
yeah.
sink or swim, right?
Yeah.
So he goes, no, wait a second, just hold on. He's dividing up these $5,000 chips
Between him and his friends and you.
His 4 friends and me. So there's like 6 of us. 6 divided by 250K, whatever it is. And he goes to slide me my stack. And I looked at him and I said, there's no way. I'm like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't want to say his name because he's a very known person.
Sure.
But he goes to slide me these chips. I'm like, no way. The director comes over. He's like, Harrison, you got to do it. And I'm looking at him. I'm looking at the guest, and I'm looking at the director, and he's like, you got to do it. You got to take the offer. And I'm like, no way. I said, give me $5,000. Give me one $5,000 chip. I said, I'll break that up into $500 chips, and we'll play that way. He goes, okay, that's cool. It's cool with me. I'm going to play. He goes, can I play my $5,000 chips? I said, it's your money, brother.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, don't put that pressure on me.
Were you guys playing that blackjack?
We're baccarat.
Okay.
I love baccarat.
Yeah. The best odds, right?
It's the best odds.
Yeah.
So we end up losing 250K in like 6 minutes.
Yeah. And
Obviously I have to show respect at the table, and it's his money, and I said, I'm not taking the lead here. It's basically a term called, I'm not driving.
right.
So there's a driver at the table when you play this game, and
Right.
usually it's the person with the biggest stack at the table, because it's like a show of respect. I'm not driving. He goes, fine, I'll do it. And
So he takes another marker?
we end up losing. Calls another marker. At this point, we're $500,000 in the table,
Oh, man.
and about 4 shots of 1942 in about 15 minutes.
Oh, man.
I can't even see straight.
Yeah.
Number one, I have high anxiety as it is.
Yeah, because right now, this moment.
Number two is I'm gonna have a heart attack right here at this table. You know, so I stand up, I break, I'm sweating, I break, I get up, I said XYZ, I said I can't do this. We're not doing this right now. Let's take a walk. Let's go to dinner.
Yeah.
The director goes to me, he goes, thank you. You know, he's like, thank you, because you develop, like in the casino world, between you and your host, you develop a good relationship, friendship. And you kind of know that person's limits, but at the end of the day, you don't want to push somebody.
No, yeah.
You don't want to push somebody.
Right.
And you can't really tell them no, because it's your job, obviously, for the
Right.
casino to win.
And they're going to have access to the money.
Correct.
But you also.
You want to keep that relationship active and alive with that.
And if they dog out, they don't want to
Correct.
come back. So.
Because then you sour the relationship.
Right.
Why don't you, me to my host, Jesus Christ, my host's name is Keith, and I said, Keith, I'm like, bro, I lost 15,000.
Right.
I'm like, how'd you let me do that?
Yeah, yeah.
He goes, bro, it's like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
It's the same thing on a larger scale.
Yeah, just put zeros behind it.
So we exchange contacts. I thank him enough. I get back home and I go to my savings account and I screenshot it. I send it to him and I said, can I wire you some money? You didn't have to do that. He goes, brother, look me up if you haven't looked me up already.
Right.
I Google him and I'm blown away.
His net worth is.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Billions.
Yeah.
So I get back to it. I'm like, holy fuck, thank you.
Yeah.
If there's anything that I can do for you in the future, whatever it is, if you're in Miami, I'll wash your car.
Yeah.
I literally telling him this.
Yeah.
And this is me at almost 30 years old,
Yeah.
making shit ton of money in the nightlife.
Right.
I'm always grateful
Right.
for whatever. So, we end the conversation well, and we fast forward to it now becomes Super Bowl weekend in Miami. The biggest weekend in the world, in the biggest location in the world.
Right.
I get a text from him 3 days before the weekend. My club is 80% sold out.
Oh, yeah.
The only tables I have left are $50,000
Yeah.
tables. Literally.
Yeah.
Literally $50,000 tables for 8 people. Maximum 8 people.
Wow.
So he hits me up. He goes, last minute, taking the jet, taking the boys down. We're going to the Super Bowl. I need a
He's
table.
like-
What do you got? And I'm like, I'll just call him Jim. Let's
Okay.
call him Jim. I say, Jim, I'm like, I really want to help you here, but I literally have 4 tables left, and there are premier tables, and they cost $50K. I was like, I would lose my job literally if I put you in there at a no minimum, or I give you a break.
Right.
So
Because it's going to sell no matter what.
because it's gonna sell no matter what.
Yeah.
So he calls me. He goes, brother, I'm not looking for anything from you. He goes,
just line it up.
"You're my friend now." He goes, "Forget about the 5,000. It's nothing to me."
Right.
He goes, "I met you.
Right.
You're in Miami. You're my guy now."
Right.
And it kind of like that's fucking this guy is a bazooka million. This guy's a huge whale. This guy has billions of dollars.
Right.
Billions. We're not talking 100 million, 200 million. We're in the billions. Okay.
Yeah.
So he goes, "I'm with 8 people or 10 people, whatever it is. Send me whatever it is I need to do."
So you got 2 tables.
Got 2 tables.
Yeah.
Not really. I kind of encroached. We kind of like
Squished into.
Yeah, we kind of like. I'm sorry if this person ever hears it, but we fucked one of the guests over.
Yeah.
To make Jim happy.
Yeah.
Because of his status.
You adjusted the areas.
Yeah. So I sent him the link for $50K. It was a prepaid link. And he texts back, "LOL, this is what you're worried about?" He goes, "You don't think I was expecting something like this?" He goes, "Brother, we gotta talk." Right? So he sends the $50K prepay back like it was nothing, and now it's Super Bowl night or whatever day it was.
Yeah.
Comes in, he's completely obliterated. He's like ossified drunk. He's ossified. He comes in like
he's been at it all day.
All day. He goes
on the yacht.
every day. He told me, he's like, "I'm staying at the Fontainebleau, wherever you're staying." He goes, "I'm so toast." He goes, "I'm here to see you." He goes, "What are we ordering?" And I'm like, "Let's fucking order a bunch of champagne. Let's make a show."
Yeah, right.
So, at the time, I'm in a sling cast with pins, so I couldn't be down on the main floor. And he knew this. He knew I was I had an accident recently, and he was kind of upset about it.
About not being able to hang out with you.
Yeah. So he goes, "I'll pay my security to stand with you the whole time." And I'm like, "Jim, I don't think you understand. Like, if somebody bumps into me the wrong way, or if a fight breaks out or something, and I go down, like the next move is that they have to fuse my wrist together because it was broken so badly.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to avoid that." Mm-hmm. He goes, "Okay, now you owe me one." Right? He understood, but now I owe him one.
Right.
So finished Super Bowl. He goes home happy. Last Thursday, we get called to the club by the owner. I work for 11 Miami, so the owner reaches out to us and says, "I want you all at the club. We're in the final stages of things, of a rumor that you have heard about going around, and we're ready to unveil it to you guys, family and friends." I'm excited. I know the rumors that are flying around. And the owner literally gets up on stage and he says, in 3 years from now, 3.5, 4 years from now, across the street is going to stand the 11 hotel and residence.
Wow. That's
and
awesome.
We go crazy. We're like, "What?" He goes, "I am bringing Las Vegas inspired hotel and residence across the street.
Wow.
We're going to build a sky bridge that's going to connect to our rooftop.
That's incredible.
And we're going to build a Mecca in Miami. We're taking the next step." He goes, "You all are here because you are friends and family. You're not my employees. You are my family." And they cut us a huge deal. The starting price on a studio unit, which would essentially be like a hotel room, was $260,000. Where we could reserve it at $10,000 and only have to put up $20,000 for the condo. In the normal world, you have to put up 40% of the purchase price, XYZ. He says, "No,
pre-construction, you can do 10 down and
this is my project. I paid for it myself out of the money that you helped me make over the 7 years that the club has been open. I want to help you guys."
Wow.
He goes literally on the microphone in front of her. He goes, "Fuck the 40%. We're financing you guys."
Wow, that's nice.
So he said, he goes, "If you guys decide to leave the company, this offer still stands because you're forever going to be my family." I go crazy in my head, doing numbers, boom, boom, boom. What do I have left after 2020 in my bank account? After not working, after my accident, whatever. So I'm like, I can make it happen, but I'm gonna hurt myself. I'm gonna starve myself
You're gonna be
for the long term.
Yeah.
For the long term result.
But you're ready to do that.
I was ready to do it.
Yeah.
And he also said, this is what I'm getting at. I'm sorry, I'm stretching it out, but
okay.
he says to me, you're also allowed to offer this to your select clientele.
Wow.
And he says, let's not be idiots. You know who your select clientele is.
It's not just your boys.
It's not the people that come in every weekend and only spend like $1,000, $2,000, whatever. Yeah. It's your clients that you rely on for Art Basel, Miami Music Week, Memorial Weekend, whenever we have somebody huge.
Right.
He goes, those are gonna be your guys. We all know in the system who your guys are. We all deal with each other's clients.
If someone's not there,
somebody's not there.
Yeah.
But that doesn't give somebody else the right in the club to take that client from you.
Right.
And to sell them a condo.
Right.
The offer is we get 1% of the sale of whatever is sold to our client from that sale.
Nice.
As well as a $25,000 bonus check for selling each unit. So you get 1% plus $25K incentive.
Nice.
So I have a holy shit moment.
Sure.
Right? Because
you're partly a sale into buying one.
I hold a list of clientele that happens to be a very large percentage of our higher end clientele of the venue. I go crazy. I start counting my money.
Right.
And I walk away from it.
Yeah.
Not walk away from it, but I take everything and I go home.
Right.
And tell my dad. Oh my God, what do I do? He goes, first thing you need to do is you need to know what you're talking about, right? My dad always coaching me. My dad just turned 84 this past year in 2020. Always coaching me to the end of until forever. He'll coach me. You need to do this, do this, do this, and he's right.
That's great.
Because you get an opportunity sometimes like that, and sometimes you get blinded by it.
Yeah.
And I met with the sales team. I introduced myself to them. I told them who I represent as far as clientele. They couldn't believe it. And this is the day after, and we had already sold 27 units.
The day after.
In less than 24 hours, we sold 27 units. And prices, the cheaper offerings weren't available.
Right.
So I'm like, I get on the trigger. I reach out to every single one of, my entrepreneurial clients.
Right.
Just to name a few, like the creator of Four Loco, the creator of RX Bar, the creator of Shipmonk.
Okay.
People that are involved in real estate in Chicago that have really spearheaded all of the new developments and low affordable housing units that are more upscale, that are kind of like redeveloping the city of Chicago.
Okay.
These are my clients. I'm hitting them, because these are big people that spend with us, and I have this relationship with them to where that I can hit them up for anything. Everybody gets excited.
Yeah.
I get a huge feedback from all of them, and the problem that I have is that they want to come in and buy out the development. And I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
They're like, we want to buy out the project.
Yeah.
We want to own the project.
Yeah.
250 million,
Yeah.
300 million. We want to buy it out. We want to take it over.
Right.
And what do I have to do now?
Yeah.
I have to select who out of these
Excellent.
8 clients.
Everybody's already all going.
Everybody had come back to me and said the same thing.
Oh man.
They don't know each other.
Yeah.
They don't have a plot against me or the company.
It's
they want to take it because they know
the value
of it in the future.
And here you have good cop, bad cop because you're the good cop.
What am I supposed to do now?
You can't be the bad cop.
Can't.
Yeah.
I can't. So I call the owner of the club.
Yeah.
His name is Dennis.
Yeah.
I said, Dennis, this is what's going on. I need to know what's going on, for real. Can you call me back? He goes, holy shit. He goes, give me some time, right? Hang up. my legs are shaking, like, you know,
Yeah.
I'm sitting, I can't sit still
Yeah.
because of my anxiety. You know, like I know what's potentially here for me. I'm like,
Sure.
oh my God, the
Right.
1% of 200 million, you know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I'm retired, you know? So I happen to have a really good relationship with one of the partners, and I call him because I'm not hearing back from Dennis.
Right.
And Dennis is the kind of person that you don't bother,
Right.
you know? And I don't like to bother people at the end of the day.
Right.
Call Danny. I say, Danny, I said, this person wants to buy out the project. This person wants to buy out the project. This person wants to buy 40 units at this price, if he can come in at this price, you know, or this person wants to become an equity partner, whatever.
Yeah.
And he goes, holy fuck. He goes, are you serious? I said, bro, I'm not lying. I'm like, I'm not bullshitting. I'm like, let me retire, bro. Help me retire.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm sorry. He goes, but the project's 100% funded already.
Right.
You know, they would have to set up a meeting with PMG.
So now they would just be an investor, straight up.
They would, so basically it's like you're selling debt.
Yeah.
PMG would essentially sell their debt and bring on an equity partner,
Right.
or something like that.
Right.
And PMG is not gonna, you know, PMG is a premier development group,
Yeah.
you know, that built the tallest building in Manhattan right now.
Right.
They can't touch you.
Right.
They don't need your money. So
They know the value, that those guys know the value.
I'm hitting a brick wall,
Yeah.
right? And I'm frustrated.
Sure.
Fuck. I can't sell these guys condos because they don't want that.
They
They
want it
own
all.
buildings
Yeah.
all over the United States.
Right.
How am I going to tell them, hey, buy 10 EW investment?
Right.
No, what the fuck? It goes like 200 million. I don't want to do that. I want to make 200 million in 10 years.
Right.
Well, I can sit to make 5 million.
Right. Exactly.
So, you know, and I think of my friend that I met in the Bahamas. I reach out to him, say, Jim, this is what's going to happen. In 2 days, prices are going to go up.
You're asking him for advice, or you're asking him if he wants to buy it?
I made the offer. I said, this is what we're doing. This is what's going to happen here in Miami in the next 4 years. Do you want to own a part of history? And he goes, send me everything you got. Right? He gets back to me at the end of the day, 2 days ago. And he says, I need to talk to somebody. I need pricing per unit, per floor. He goes, I want to come in. I want to buy something. I'm back and forth. I'm like, I reach out to the sales agent. His name's Renner Perez. And I say, Renner, I need your help. I need your dedication. I'm like, one of my clients, and I didn't give him his name. I didn't give my client's name out,
Right.
because this is business at
Right.
the end of the day.
Right. You have to
So
protect that.
I have to protect myself.
Right.
So he's like, yeah, I'll get to him. Renner Perez is an individual who worked for Jeff Sofer. Jeff Sofer is the developer of the Fontainebleau, Miami
Right,
Beach,
right.
Turnberry, XYZ. For 15 years, and was Jeff Sofer's right-hand man, sales agent. He basically was responsible for selling out the Tresor Tower and everything in the Fontainebleau.
Right.
That's Renner Perez. So Renner Perez, on his own,
Yeah.
is his own monster.
Yeah. He's well established.
He knows where to dedicate his time to. I wasn't getting through to Renner on who I was. He hasn't fully understood, you know, not to be cocky
the
or
value of
anything,
your
but the value of my contacts.
Yeah.
So I finally, this is like the end of day 2 now.
Right.
This is 2 days ago. This is the end of day 2 after I introduce it to my client Jim. And I say, Renner, I said, I don't think you understand who I am. I said, I'm not trying to be cocky, and I'm not trying to disrespect who you are and what you have going on. I know
Right.
what you're doing is very important for our company for the future. I said, but I have one of the richest guys in the world that's interested in buying a condo. I said, you're not fucking helping me.
Right.
I said, if I need to contact Ryan Shearer, who happens to be with PMG,
Right.
I said I will, to help myself.
Right.
If you're not going to help
Just
me.
need a little attention.
And he calls me right away, and he says, no, listen, brother, you have to understand this and that. And he was with Dennis at the time. He goes, I'm sitting here with Dennis and Michael Simpkins right now. I told him that you just texted me, and Dennis told me to call you, to calm me down.
Good.
So he goes, I understand what's going on. Give me some time. I need time. Yesterday, right? we have a 12 p.m. Zoom call set up with Renner, the sales team, and my client to go over everything as
Right.
far as the sales
Details of the deal,
right?
yeah.
Renner's MIA.
No.
I'm blowing a gasket in my house,
Oh yeah.
right? I'm furious. I give him the benefit of the doubt. 3 o'clock comes around, and I'm starting to think ugly. I'm gonna fucking drive down there. I'm gonna fuck up Renner's meeting. I'm gonna get whoever's down there in our sales office. I'm gonna kick them the fuck out to get this deal done.
Oh yeah.
Because that's how I am.
Yeah.
You know.
But also that's the way the client is expected.
That's the way the client expects to be represented at the end of the day. It's a reflection on me too.
Right.
And I don't like to misrepresent people because it's just bad business.
Right.
Renner calls me back 6:30. He goes, "Okay, I'm all yours." I very politely I say, "Renner," I said, "I don't fucking think you know what the fuck is going on here."
Right.
I tell him verbally who my client is over the phone.
Right.
And I said, "You know what? Hold on one second. I'll go to Google search his name, and I send him the link of the
Right.
Google search."
Right.
I say, "Renner, do me a favor, look at your text message right now."
Right.
I said, "This is my client."
Right.
I said, "I'm not telling you who the fuck my client is because I don't want you to go behind my back because I know who you are and I know the power that you hold.
Right.
I'm trying to secure a deal for myself
Right.
to help me and my future,
Right.
so I can sit across the table and be in a position like you are, or maybe fund my own project one day. But this is a step for me." "Hold on one second, brother. Let me look." He goes, "Holy fucking shit! I know this guy. I know who he is." I said, "Thank you." He hangs up on me. Calls my client because I had sent him the number. Renner calls me back. He says he wants to buy the last penthouse for $10 million. I said, "Imagine if we would have did this 2 days ago.
Right.
The deal would have been done already."
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm looking potentially, God willing,
Right.
at a very nice commission off this sale, plus the bonus.
Yeah.
But it all started with that relationship
Yeah. Absolutely.
that I made.
Yeah. And just through a friendly
My
introduction.
introduction
Yeah.
and this casino director I was introduced to by my host.
Yeah. And you guys made friends, and you.
It wasn't even a solid.
Yeah, just acquaintances, like
It was just acquaintances.
friendly.
"Hi, how are you? I'm David Luber. I'm Harrison Ruggiero. Nice to meet you. Blah 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 blah. What do you do? Where you live? This is what I do." "Oh, cool. I'll keep your number for the future."
Yeah.
If I wasn't receptive to that, or if I thought I was a hotshot, or if I thought I was bigger than who I was,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have made that
Connection.
made that connection. So the power of a relationship
Yeah.
and you being receptive and being humble at the end of the day, no matter who you are and where you stand, because everybody has something to gain, and no matter what position you're in,
Yeah. Correct.
right?
Yeah.
If you're the busser, if you're a manager of a nightclub, if you're the CEO of a company, if you're just a regular employee
Yeah.
at a Starbucks,
Right.
you don't know who you're going to meet and who you're going to
Yeah,
cross paths
it's
with,
these touch points. Yeah.
and who is going to help you, or how you can help each other in the future connect dots to
Yeah.
create something that's bigger than life.
Yeah. 100%.
And I've learned that. And I think, for somebody that it wants to be an entrepreneur, or wants to take their life into their own hands, or have some money behind them, investor, parents, etc., inheritance, that can set that person up well off into the future. The first thing they need to do is, one, humble themselves, and two, understand the power of a relationship with somebody. Because if I never met you, it was 2001. If I never met you about 13 years ago,
Yeah.
when I was about 16, 17, we wouldn't be sitting here today.
Yeah. Very true.
Because if it wasn't for you, number one, noticing me and noticing what I was trying to accomplish, and being receptive to me and saying, "Let me help this kid out. He's young, but he's got a fire in him." Kind of reminds me of myself, or whatever, however you looked at it. And if it wasn't for me saying to myself, oh man, you know, I need to meet this guy Rich. I really want to meet this guy Rich. This is the guy. He's gonna take over one day, and you know, this is a good guy to know, you know. And instead of me being like, oh yeah, that's fucking Rich. He's got his dad's gonna give him everything. Fuck that guy. No, it's not. You can't look at life that way.
Yeah.
You know, because you can never be resentful or jealous for how somebody else was raised, because you have the power to take whatever situation you're in and take it to the next level if you want to, right?
Absolutely.
So I didn't want to be a buster and runner anymore.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be fucking throwing away trash at 16, 17, driving a Ford Taurus.
Yeah.
No, I wanted to move up. I wanted to make more money, and the only way I could do that was through my people skills, because I didn't have a great education.
Yeah.
Because I was a fuck up. You know, let's be real.
Yeah.
And I was playing the street, and I was playing work.
Yeah.
At the same time.
And it is interesting as I've gotten older and throughout the time, it's like education is great. You know, the structuring and you know, some people need to be, you know, taught, but then the life skills
Doesn't teach you how to be real.
Yeah, the life skills is such a necessity that, you know, it's hard to teach. It's hard to teach, and you kind of gonna have to run through it.
Yes.
And then and how you come out on the other side is really where,
The value of you being a real person is the most powerful thing in the world. And what I mean by real is, you know, saying the things that may hurt a relationship.
Yeah.
You know, not sugarcoating anything.
Yeah.
Because the power of being real is you and I are gonna get into a disagreement in a meet. Let's say we're in a meeting. I disagree with what you have to say. We're across the table, and we put everything out on the table.
Right.
And now you have how many other people that are in the room that are weighing in, and we're all learning from each other.
Right. Yeah, because everyone's got a different perspective.
Everybody has a different perspective.
Yeah.
So if you weren't real and you were just like a pushover,
yeah,
and you were just like, oh yeah, you miss opportunities to learn and to hear other people's perspectives.
Yeah.
And maybe something might make sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
To you in your mind from somebody else's mouth, and you say, yeah, that's great, let's do it with this, and we put everybody, and now all of a sudden,
yeah,
if you're in a business together or XYZ, you're either growing your company, growing your financials, or saving money.
Right.
So the power of being real is like, yeah, that and being real with yourself, right? Because, you know, I like sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, I like to think that I'm bigger than what I actually am, because I've already manifested where I want to be and what I want out of life.
You're visualizing.
I'm visualizing. So, you know, sometimes I walk in somewhere, or sometimes I act a certain way that damages me.
Yeah.
And I realize that.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to find that balance.
Showing out a little, and then people that might take it, being rubbing them the wrong way.
Exactly.
And, yeah.
Exactly. Being in company, you know, I hold really good company with the people that I hang out with, and you know, a lot of times I'm like with the partners of the club, or I'm at dinner or something like that, and you know, I get that streak comes back in.
Yeah.
After a couple glasses of wine, or you know, a couple of drinks at dinner, and it's like I get a text under the table like, shut your fucking mouth. You know,
someone gives you a little act right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's true though, you know. But that's being real.
Yeah.
You know, that'll never hurt you, truly hurt you,
Right.
unless you really fuck up a deal,
Right.
and you get really far ahead of yourself. But it's just being real with yourself, and knowing where you stand, and not acting, because if you get caught,
Yeah.
with your pants down,
That's another thing is like I was gonna, add on to that, because not acting, being real is like, it's very hard to keep an act up. it's very hard to.
Can't fake the funk forever.
Yeah. So people are gonna catch on to it.
Yep.
You know, so.
And then now what are you left with? Your word and some
that's not where
and some
everyone's
Instagram
at.
pictures.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, man. Well, this has definitely been it's been an experience getting a deep dive into the mind of Harrison and the history.
there's so much more we can talk about. Man.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, we've known each other a long time.
Yes.
But to actually sit here and talk about it and learn more about you, I think that it's been great.
Thank you. Thank you for having
And I'm
me.
hoping that everyone here has been enjoying the story too.
Yeah.
At this moment, do you have any shameless plugs you want to let everybody know about? You already announced a big announcement.
Big announcement.
But it sounds like there's no room in that anymore. So
There's still a little bit of room, but yes, the 11 hotel residents.
That's exciting.
We're breaking ground Q4 2021.
Wow.
If we sell 60 more units in the next 30 days, then we'll be able to break ground in July.
Wow, that's incredible.
So, I mean, the list of names that have purchased units there, whether it would be for investment purposes or for living purposes, is astronomical.
Either way, you're not going to be able to get in that building.
You're not going to be able. You're really not going to be able to get in. I mean,
You're not going to be able to walk in that lobby.
If you like sports and you're a man and you're in Florida, we're gonna have the only sports book in Florida.
Oh wow,
legally.
That's amazing.
So, I might not have been able to say that,
Yeah.
but it is what it is. It'll be public tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wait, what's today? Thursday?
Yeah.
Tonight, 6 p.m.
All right.
So you kind of got a little couple hours sneak peek, but
Well, that's
Yeah.
great.
it's gonna
That's
be
exciting. Well, I can't
gonna
wait
be
to get in
exciting.
there.
Yeah,
So.
we're gonna have fun.
And definitely have to thank Expo Convention Contractors
Thank you.
giving us this studio,
Yes.
giving us this platform,
Absolutely.
and giving me a lifetime of events
Yeah, my
and our relationship.
and myself. I like to thank huge thank you to not only you, Rich, but your team.
Wow.
Because a lot of times you're behind the scenes making sure that people's positions are secured for the future, and being able to do that is being able to put people in position on the floor to where those relationships help me succeed. And ultimately, we met after a huge request that had to be approved by you or something along those lines. And, me, I can say honestly, probably looking up to you, as a very young kid in the convention center and seeing how you carried yourself and really just following the leader with everybody, because let's be real, my age, 16, 17, I was in the convention center for 9 years.
Right.
And I really had no professional skills. So being around you, your team, your entire event staff, your event managers, the event manager of the convention center, it kind of molded me for me to be who I am.
Well, thank you, Harry.
So,
appreciate
I
that.
appreciate
I'm
that.
definitely honored
Yeah.
to be
Thank
part
you.
of your development. So.
Thank you.
And also our official drink
Oh,
of the Expo
so
Rich
good.
Behind the Drapes. We have our Alvarado 420 hemp vodka,
Smells and tastes amazing. I can honestly
Green
say
Night
that.
CBD. This right here, this is the savor, the roll on.
Well, I just did leg day yesterday.
Yeah,
So I might have to.
You're gonna have to take that with you.
I might have to tap into this.
Yes,
Oh,
all the aches and pains.
They can't even stand up right now.
CBD. So, again, thank you to everybody for tuning in, and until the next time.
thank you.